intercept form problem. Okay, so we need to know a couple of formulas first to be able to solve these. And for our slope, the formula is m equals the difference in our y values over the difference in our x values. So that is our slope. And then we have a formula that is called point slope. It'll actually say point slope form. And an important thing to point out for the point slope form is that it's pretty specific. The name is literally telling you exactly what you need. You need a point and you need a slope in order to use this form. Okay, and the form is y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Okay, so this is our formula for point slope form. And then we have one called slope intercept form. Slope intercept form is actually going to be the equation of a line, which is y equals mx plus b. M here is our slope, and our y, I'm sorry, I knew what I was fixing to write. Our b is our y intercept. It's where the graph crosses our y-axis. Okay, so let's do this example. Say it was to tell you to write in point slope form, it will need to give you a slope and a point. If it doesn't give you a slope, we're going to do an example like that in a minute and you'll get to see what you need to do. But if it does give you a slope and a point, it'll be similar to this problem where it says write in point slope form. It tells you that your slope equals 3 and that we're passing through the point negative 5, 5. And after this, when we get done writing it in point slope form, it wants us to write in slope intercept form. Oh, well. And slope intercept. Okay, so if we do point slope form, we know that that is y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Well, here is my point. So that's my x and y. Those are the coordinates for my first point, only point. I only need one to do this formula. And it told me that my slope, which is m, is 3. So I actually can just go ahead and plug this in. What I get is y. That's just a variable. You notice here there's only a subscript of the number 1. It's not like the slope formula. So that means I only need 1 point. When you do see just an x and a y with no subscript, those are just the variables that you need to do the problem, but those aren't being replaced by anything. So the formula tells me to subtract, look at my y sub 1, which is a 5, equals my m was 3 times my variable x minus my x sub 1, which is a -5. Make sure you use all of your parentheses here wherever you need them, especially since this 5 is negative. We're going to simplify this just a little bit. Y minus 5 equals 3 times x. Negative times a negative is a positive. This is point slope form. If your homework asks you to write it in point slope form, this is point slope form. Now, in order to write it in slope intercept form, we know that slope intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So what we need to do is solve for y. Well, what we have is y minus 5 equals 3 times x plus 5. This has to be distributed first. We get y minus 5 equals 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 5 is 15. Signs are the same, so it's positive. We need to do the inverse of this -5 in order to isolate our y. And the inverse of a negative number would be its positive counterpart. So we would have a +5. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other. What I get is y, those cancel, which is great because that's what I wanted, equals, we have a 3x. And then if you do 15 plus 5, we get 20. This is slope intercept form. And if you notice, my slope, my m equals 3, which is good because it told me my m was 3. And then if you were to be asked what your y-intercept was in this problem, my y-intercept would be 20. Okay. Now let's do another one. Say they ask us to write this in point slope form. They'll give us a slope. They're going to actually give us a point. And then it also wants us to write it in slope intercept form. So the same exact way as problem 1. Our slope is equal to a -1/3. And our point that we're passing through is 4, -2. Green, blue, red. Oh man. Well, it didn't save it. So, second example, it's telling us that our slope, my colors may just change because I don't remember what my colors were, is a -1/3, and the point that we're passing through is 4, -2. First, what we need to do is write it in point slope form, which is saying we have a slope and we have a point. This would be my point. This would be my slope. And if I plug everything in, I get, I need to plug in a y sub 1, make sure I subtract that from y. So it's actually a -2 equals my m is a -1/3 times x minus 4. And so if I continue with this, I get y plus 2 equals a -1/3 times x minus 4. This is your point slope form. Okay, now if I want to do my slope intercept form, that's actually going to be the equation of a line. What I need to do is solve for y. So what I have is y plus 2 equals negative 1/3 times x minus 4. Just be sure to do the order of operations. We would need to figure out these parentheses, and because we have a coefficient literally touching that parenthesis, it means we need to distribute that to every term inside of the parentheses. And what we get is y plus 2. I have a negative 1/3 times x, and then I have a negative 1/3 times a negative 4. Those signs are the same, so it'll be positive, and that 4 just goes right into the numerator. Because you multiply straight across the top and the bottom, and that technically can be written over 1. And so here, I still need to solve for my y. What I need to do is the inverse of a positive number 2, which would give me a negative 2. Whatever you do to one side, you have to make sure you do to the other. So what I have is 4/3 minus 2. This technically can be written over 1. If we do a common denominator here of 3, 3 divided by 3 is 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. Bring down your sign. 3 divided by 1 is 3 times 2 is 6. Oh no, I wrote that wrong. Okay. Starting over. Okay, so if we have our 4/3, I'll do it the normal way, especially since I had a mistake. 4/3 minus 2. So I have my 4/3 minus, this needs a common denominator, so I would multiply both by 3, and I would actually get a negative, I would actually get a negative 2/3. So negative 2/3. And so this would be my equation of a line. Okay, so let me just come over here to the side and do what I was doing, just so I can at least have some kind of ending to that. If you want to have a different way to add and subtract fractions, 4/3 minus 2/1. I would look and get a common denominator between 3 and 1, which would be 3. And then I divide 3 divided by 3 is 1. 1 times 4 is 4. Bring your sign down. Then I do 3 divided by 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. So do you notice how I get the same thing right here? I guess I wasn't really paying attention and I had written the wrong number. But if I continue this, I get 4 minus 2, which is a negative 2/3. It's just a different way of getting a common factor and adding or subtracting them instead of actually having to do the multiplication right here of rewriting a fraction with a new denominator. Okay, so let's do this last example right here. Let's say we have a problem that tells us to write in point slope form and write in slope intercept form. And what they tell me is that I'm passing through the points -3, 0 and 0, 3. Okay, so it's different here than the other problems. I still need to find point slope and slope intercept, but I'm not even given a slope. So what I need to recognize is that in order to find the slope, I need 2 coordinated points. Once I label them, my x sub 1, x sub 2, I now can do the slope formula, which is the difference between the x values and the difference between the y values. And what I get here is 3 minus 0 over 0 minus -3. And so continuing with this, I would get 3 minus 0 is 3 over, that becomes a big plus sign. 0 plus 3 is 3. 3 divided by 3, it's 1. That's my m. That's my slope. I was able to find my slope in order to do point slope and slope intercept because I had 2 points. And so now let's do our point slope form, which is y minus y1, m, x minus x1, plug in y. I'm just going to recommend you use this one. It doesn't matter which one you use. You just pick one. But if you look at my formula, I have an x sub 1 and a y sub 1. So, of course, I would probably want to pick this one just to keep there from being any confusion. They're already labeled x sub 1 and y sub 1. So those are the ones I'm picking. We get minus 0 equals, my slope is 1 times x minus a -3. Y minus 0, 1 times x plus 3. This is the point slope form. Okay, so but I'm actually going to go further like we have in the previous problems. I need to know what the equation of the line is, also known as slope intercept form, which means I need to solve for my y. So what I do is I'm going to kind of simplify this a little bit, y'all. That 0 went away, right? 1 times x is just x. 1 times 3 is just 3. And that was actually easy peasy. This is slope intercept form. Okay, so with this, you should be able to find the slope if given a slope. If given 2 points, and then you should be able to find point slope form if you are given a slope and a point, or even if you're just given 2 points, and you should know how to find the slope intercept form, which is, like I said, the equation of a line, y equals mx plus b. Okay, y'all, if you have any questions, let me know. Bye.